Hey everybody, it's Sunday the 16th, 2025 at 8 a.m. I don't know why I'm looking there. I'll get like I can see up there. All right. Shooting out this short little video so that we can get you all prepped up and primed, ready to go. And I wanted to start with just welcoming everybody, but I also wanted to just caveat a couple of things that I've seen over the last bunch of sprints I've done. This will be my fourth or fifth. It's my fifth, fourth. Who knows? So what's happened is those of you who are seeing this, you will see this obviously on a televideo on a link, and I've popped it in here. A couple of things. First, this is not an engagement pod, and what I mean by that is that under no circumstances are you compelled to like anybody's post, but I encourage you to post links to your dailies in this chat and also in Skool. I'll get into Skool for a second and why that's important. But I have seen a lot of tactics, techniques, shady shams, scams over the last 6, 7 months. You kind of work out who's legit, who's not. And ultimately, we're all here because we want to build a thriving solo business or an agency or whatever it is. And in order for us to do that, we need to make sure that our content, our writing is elevated, we attract the right ICP, and that it resonates with people. Things like engagement pods help boost your content, but it doesn't help bring in revenue. And although there are a number of metrics that you need to focus on, so things like impressions and reach and engagement, and then off the back of that, there's a whole bunch of other things like, DMs and inbox messages and emails and scheduled meetings and all that sort of stuff. The ultimate metric that is the most important thing is revenue. And if you're not booking revenue, you just have a hobby, you just have a pastime. And so that's what's really, really important. So, whilst I urge you and encourage you to post your dailies in this chat and in Skool, I want you to focus on what's really, really important, and that is revenue. So support each other, make comments, make suggestions, be critical in a kind way, and just remind yourself why you're here. You're here to obviously improve your copy, your content creation. And so for that to happen, you need to get the feedback. And people in this chat may not be your ICP, so ideal client profile, but they're going to have similarities. They're going to cross over in experiences and things like that. And they will give you insight. They might even have expertise in the ICP that you're going after. So those things to consider, all of this as we start sharing content within the chat. The second thing is I see a bunch of questions coming up about people asking for things like, hey, can you share that template? Or hey, can you do this and that? I've realized that whilst it's good to share in a community, sometimes there is an opportunity for a transaction take place. And I said in the last chat, in the last group, I'm not here to shake you all down for $1 or something like that. That's not the objective. The objective here is to create community, create cohesiveness and accountability so that we all sprint together and post 30 days worth of content over a 30-day period. But whilst running a solo business, I just said that revenue is like the most important factor. If there is an opportunity to create a transaction and revenue and share between two people in this cohort, what I suggest you do is take the conversation offline or take the conversation privately. So DM somebody. So Janice, for example, she is a Notion expert. She's building a business around efficiencies and Notion templates and Notion workflows and things like that. So if you're curious about that, and you've seen that somebody mentioned Janice or somebody mentioned something about Notion, reach out to that person one-to-one, offer a consulting call. And if you're on the receiving end and you want the information, like make an offer, hey, would $50 for 30 minutes of your time be worthwhile? Because I guarantee that value exchange is going to make what is said in that call and the template or the downloadable or the asset or the collateral that you receive, you are going to pay far more attention to doing that. And when people start to hit you up in a sales process, you will know what to do. You will be better equipped because you've actually done it. But obviously, You know, whether you want to do mates rates or you want to do full list price, that's completely up to you. So just around that, this is not, don't come in here and start pitching your wares and stuff like that. This is not what this is about. This is about engagement, community, and support. But if there is an opportunity for you to do that, take that conversation outside so that you can have that conversation more fruitfully without creating noise in the main chat. And just mindful, I don't want to be too prescriptive on this because it's not my, like, this doesn't happen unless you guys all join, right? And then the last thing is just around, I guess, just your personal, not hygiene, but your personal, when I say hygiene, I mean digital hygiene. So when you jump into Skool, and I've said this before in previous videos, people are creating their own islands and they, like yourself, you know, whether you're an alumni and you've done the digital, you know, you've done the live cohorts or you've only done the asynchronous course, buying a course and then completing it all the way through on its own, especially with something about creating content, positioning your expertise, being a thought leader, writing, you know, that has to go out into the public domain. And it's pretty scary because you're not going to get a lot of feedback when you start. It just, unless you're like a James Clear or a Bill Gates, you know, they've got millions and million and you know followers, like you're gonna post something and you're gonna get a lot of silence and you're gonna get a tumbleweed flying past and you're gonna go, wow, is this really worth it? Am I supposed to be here doing this thing? And the short answer is it depends. It depends on whether or not you want to be here and how much effort you're going to put into this thing. Because everybody has expertise, everybody has a story, everybody has a point of view, and everybody has skills. Because if you've been in a paid job, somebody paid you to either develop or utilize your expertise. And so you should be comfortable in writing about it, but you're not because of it's social and there's imposter syndrome and all that stuff that's going on. So the reason I say post also in Skool is for a couple of reasons. There are hundreds of people coming into Skool every month buying Ship 30 for 30, then they go off and they buy other programs and they've never sold before. They've never been on digital in the way that this program actually encourages you to share. So while you're here, you then start creating your own little island. And I've said this before, like, you know, day 10, you've got this person here. Day 10, 4 likes, 1 comment. 10 days ago, they're on day 10. They've got their little moat here, you know, and they're going, is this thing really worth it? And the machine will tell you, yes, you need to keep going. Yes, you need to keep going. You should buy this course. You should buy that course, download this, sign up for that, blah, blah, blah. And you go on this trajectory of just consumption. And consumption is great, but output is better. And so when you share in here, in this chat, which I've purposely put up, and I do this every time, is you start to create noise. And that noise then starts to resonate with other people. And if there are other people that are new to Ship 30 for 30 and they're here and they're going, because they probably went on a long client experience process to then go, is this thing legit? Should I buy it? And then when they buy it and they do like 1 or 2, they're all excited and they fall off the vine within 3 days, 4 days when they're not getting any signal. And if any of you have been here for a period of time, you know that signal takes time. You need to train the algorithm. You need to refine your copy. You need to refine your positioning. That takes time. That takes practice. That takes just a level of commitment. And without the support, it's really hard. It's like going to the gym by yourself and going, hey, I want to train for Mr. Olympia in, 6 months, but I've never been to the gym before. I don't know anything about nutrition. And, I'm just going to get big and bulky. And then you go there for 2 days, 3 days, and you realize you're not getting any results and you quit. Reality is you're building the muscle memory below. And if you had a coach, if you had a community, if you had all the support and people telling you what you should be doing, it's a vastly different experience. So what I've got here is the first thing. I always ask people to say, hey, give me an ahoy. I'm following the Ship 30 for 30 mantra and I'm being respectful within their ecosystem. And I say, I want to join the sprint, post an ahoy, introduce yourself and add me to LinkedIn. I've learnt that people add me and they don't even say I'm from Ship 30 and I'm like, who are you? So that's something that I need to add in the next sprint. And then from here, you can see all the comments, people saying, great, 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 great. There's a couple of usual suspects, which is fantastic. And now we've got a little pod. We've got a little group. Great, wonderful. So as we start to now create noise here, people are going to go, what's going on over there? It's like I've got my little island here, but they've got a bigger island, and they want to be part of that. And we do want to suck them in. We want to suck them in because we want to say, hey, being where you are, ready to support. And I've learned a lot being in groups and having conversations with people and seeing, why did that person join, and their positioning and their messaging. And I take a lot out of that as well. So if you can promote it, great. If you're not comfortable, it's fine as well. But remember why you're here. You're here because you want to run with a bunch of like-minded people. So getting now to the hygiene thing, the thing that's really powerful about Skool is that there is a captive audience already in here. And the reason that I put in these like 130, 230, 330, 430, all the way up to 3030 is because I'm going to delete this. I can't delete. The reason I did this was because it's really hard to track where you're at. And if I know that on the 17th, which is tomorrow for me, or the day after for some of you, wherever you are, you can come in here and go, what is today's date? And you go, today's date is the 19th. Great, it's 3:30 and I haven't posted 2:30, 1:30. So then you go in your link and you go 3:30, reply, here's my link. And the way that I typically do it is like, I will copy a URL. So let's have a look at something here. I'll have a look at mine. And so for example, this here was yesterday's post. I'll copy the short URL here, Control C, go back into Skool. I'll hit this link button here, pop that in there, link. And what I'll do is it's a better way of doing this. I'll go 1/30 and I'll give it the hook. And the hook is keep scrolling. And obviously it's a play on words here, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. I then highlight the whole copy, hit the link button, post in the link, and there you go. And so I go 1:30, keep scrolling, and I put in a bullet point, your profile is your shop front. I typically do too. And this is something that I just developed in the last sprint. Why am I doing this? Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because when you start doing this sort of stuff here, your brain thinks a different way. So now you're looking at your own copy and going, is that a hook? Will I click on that? What do I get? And all of this stuff, Cole and Diggy talk about in Ship 30 for 30. Like, what am I going to get in return for clicking and reading this piece of content? So that's the first thing. And it just makes you a better writer. The second thing, a little bit more deceptive, but if you've missed one of the posts in the chat moves mega fast. And there are people here that still think that they need to read everything. You don't. Just the chat is the chat. It'll just keep going, blah, 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 blah. And you're going to miss stuff and you're going to go, oh, I need to read everything to catch up to do this. Like, guess what? That's the internet. The internet does that to you anyway. Your inbox does that to you anyway. Your DMs. There is no way that you're going to be able to keep up and go, I need to just skim through the chat, add value where you can, discard the rest, and just keep going. Doing it here allows you to actually then have your content live somewhere on the day that you're meant to post it. And if there is feedback that you want from that, and if you want to give feedback, come in here and go reply, hey, I think you should have done this. I think, and here's the thing, be kind, but be clear on the feedback, because if you do, you're going to share this with a whole bunch of other people that won't see it normally, and they'll go, yeah, that's a good point. And then they go, great, there's a community there. And that's what the purpose of Skool is, to create that. And then on top of that, people will DM you, and then you get to grow your audienceship and make new connections and all that sort of good stuff. And we're all here for the same reason. We're here to learn to be better writers, learn to be better content creators, learn to build an online business, whether it's a solo business, an agency, or you just want to augment your position in your job and create some thought leadership and positioning. Great, whatever that is. Skool allows you to share that in an environment which is safe, in an environment where you can then go back and look at it. It's embedded to that piece of content, and other people that have got the same problems, the same questions, will be reading. They'll be lurking. And guess what? Lurkers exist everywhere. Lurkers are your clients. So get uncomfortable or get comfortable being uncomfortable by posting your stuff and being accountable in Skool, post it in LinkedIn, and really push yourself. That's the last thing that I'll say. Really push yourself to try and get for 30 for 30. Very, 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 very last thing. Occasionally I'll post something and I will then say something along the lines of call a number. Call a number. The reason that people and organizations, companies, religious institutions, cults, clubs, whatever, the reason they get you to do things and say things out loud, make a proclamation, is because it's a sense of conformity. And that conformity also then works to help you feel that you're part of community. And so, when you go and see, like Simon Sinek has talked about this, like Tony Robbins, like it's littered everywhere in research. And so when you go to a football match and there are people of different colors, creeds, religious backgrounds, you know, sexual orientation, whatever, and you're there to watch a football match and they're wearing the same jersey or the same headband as you are because you barrack for the same team, immediately all the bullshit, all the other stuff doesn't matter. And it's that you're there for that and you go, hey man, hey person, hey whatever, let's go beat these. But we're on the same team. So when I tell you to call out a number, it does two things. A, it means that you're invested and you're doing stuff because that's what you're going to learn how to do in digital writing because that you need to get that signal. You need to learn how to actually encourage people to do that. And the second thing is that it keeps you accountable for what you're going to do. So if you say 30 for 30 and you get to like 2 out of 30, it's like realistically, no one really cares in the chat. But you made a promise to yourself that you would do this and you made a public declaration, but you didn't hit it. And so I ask yourself, you want to go for 30 for 30, go for 30 for 30 and then do it. And my simple rule around getting content out is this. I don't have elaborate systems around, hey, I do this and this. I do have a system, but what I don't have is I wake up at 4 in the morning and I write for like 2 hours and I get I get 3 weeks worth of content. I don't do that. I think my content has to get out there before 12 a.m. the next day. That's it. If I can get it published by 11:59 p.m., I'm happy. And if I don't, it means that I have to get the next day's piece of content published and the day that I missed pieces accomplished. And when I do that, I feel better. But then the problem is then I've got to produce the content for the next day. And then so my problem starts to compound, my energy starts to wane. And so the simple rule is if you've got time and you can write ahead, write ahead. So I've already got a piece of content ready for Monday. It is a video carousel. You guys will see it. I'll link it. It's on YouTube as well. And simple rule, just call a number and do what you need to do. If you're in a full-time job, you do exactly the same thing. If you knew there was a deadline, you do exactly the same thing. If you went on a holiday and you had to get your bags packed to catch a plane by sunset, you do exactly the same thing. And the reason I'm sounding a little bit harsh and a bit like a drill sergeant is this. You're here because you want to start a business. You want to learn how to write copy to get eyes on profile, eyes on contact, and then you need to learn how to convert that. You want to position yourself as an expert. That doesn't happen unless you treat this like a business. And if you're going to treat it like a hobby and say, hey, I'm going to do 30 for 30, and you get to like 2 for 30 at the end of the 30-day sprint, that's on you. It's not on anybody else who's actually writing. And I'll finish on this anecdotally. When I ran the first digital sprint back on August 19th, 2024, the idea was born because I'd made some friends, and those friends I'll call out here. And unfortunately, Clive's not going to join us, is Clive, Vernon, and Aid. And I'd had this long conversation with Vernon. And I said, you know what, the digital cohorts are missing something, and the digital course is missing something, and it doesn't have community. And so I said, I'll do this. I'll do this sprint. So I did it by myself, and then I added a couple of people. And Clive, I think, joined in late, and he called a number, and then he just followed through and hit that number. And then I did another one, and I got better. And then, so here's the thing. Here's the thing. Clive then just like he's like this diesel train. He's like bang, 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 30 for 30. And I'm like, man, it's like I got to 28:30. And that's what it's all about. It's about the camaraderie, the community, the support. So if you see somebody that's charging ahead, don't ask for secrets. It's like the secret's in you. You just need to just pull your thumb out, get writing, cracking, even if it's a small, and don't make excuses and pull out crap. Like just put some effort into it, right? Because people are watching. And if you're going to put out crap, that's what you're going to attract. If you're going to put out quality, then your quality will get better and your baseline will get better. So with that all said, I'm just going to quickly surmise. Start on Monday, right ahead if you can. Link your content in this chat. Also do it in Skool. Refrain from like trying to pitch everybody in here. But if there is an opportunity, have that conversation offline. Absolutely, you should see if you can get a transaction taking place, and just make sure that you're sharing value for value and be mindful of where the other person's coming from as well. And then last thing is just put the quality in. Just do it. Like do it and scroll through my feed, like look at my LinkedIn profile and go back all the way to go to images, go all the way back and see where I started. It looks nothing like what I do now. And so don't be put off by that. It's a journey. It takes time, takes effort. And what you put in over the long term is what you get in the future. So with that, welcome to the sprint. See you guys on Monday, which is tomorrow for me, 2 days ahead for some of you on the Northern Hemisphere. And yeah, let's keep shipping. God bless.